Hello and welcome to the latest Society for the Environment webinar. Today, we are focusing on the process of applying for Registered Environmental Technician registration, also referred to as REnvTech. This will be a whistle-stop tour and we'll let you know how to find out more details or point you in the direction of more specific guidance during the webinar. To start with, who are we? I'm Phil Underwood, officially the Society's Engagement Manager, and I'm joined today by Jeff Atkins, who is our Head of License Delivery and Quality. Our aim today is to shine a spotlight on the key standard processes involved in reaching your REnvTech goal, then answer as many questions as we can towards the end. For those watching the webinar as a recording, or if you need to leave before the Q&A section, please feel free to contact me or Jeff with any questions that you have using the email addresses on your screen. We're now going to turn our cameras off to avoid our heads getting in the way of our beautiful slides, but we'll be back for the Q&A later on. Okay, so before we delve into the world of REnvTech registration, I'll give a bit of I'll give a background to the Society for the Environment just to help understanding and to give an idea of why we exist. And our core role is to hold the register for competent environmental professionals who have met and continue to meet a level of competence in their environmental work and their overall professionalism. There are currently just over 8,000 registered environmental professionals. They are known as our registrants. I say currently because once you are all achieving the REnvTech after this webinar, numbers will continue to grow. And we do all this in partnership with 26 professional bodies, which will become apparent later on. This is our vision and why we do it. So the sentence on your screen is a bit long-winded, but essentially through our Royal Charter, we exist to champion sustainability through environmental professionalism. We believe that proven, competent environmental professionals across all sectors are key to a sustainable future. So put simply, we want the decisions that impact the environment to be made by those with externally verified, peer-reviewed competence, whether at technician, practitioner, or chartered level. So speaking of those levels, these are the three different professional registrations that we regulate. We've got the registered environmental technician, registered environmental practitioner, and chartered environmentalist. These registrations are positioned in a progressional way. Some will therefore use REnvTech as a demonstration of a solid commitment to being on that progression ladder towards practitioner or chartership level, as an example. But having said that, REnvTech or RFP might be the competence level for you, with CMs being unrealistic, at least for now, and that is perfectly fine. Essentially, these are the global benchmarks for proficiency in environmental practice, ensuring that our collective workforce and businesses are equipped to tackle the environmental crisis we are facing. So the plan is, together, we can build a more sustainable future, and you are a part of this. That's whether you're a environmental engineer or a consultant or a flood risk advisor or a technical specialist. The list goes on. I'm going to continue the list. An environmental officer, a project coordinator, a soil scientist, a sheep professional, or anything remotely similar, you could join this very meaningful community who are on a mission. I'm glad I had that list in front of me. The key benefits that registrants stated in our 2021 survey, which is our latest survey, were increased credibility with clients and stakeholders, increased self-confidence, and increased career opportunity. Now, the credibility theme always comes out on top, and it is a huge benefit. With the REnvTech, RFP, or CM letters after your name, you are instantly telling people that you've been externally verified as a knowledgeable, up-to-date professional when it comes to environmental good practice, commitment, and technical ability. Employers also see benefits through proven staff competence that helps them to win work. It improves their brand, and it demonstrates that their staff are working on projects know what they're doing and are working to a professional code of conduct, which is very, very useful when it comes to trust from clients. The last word from me for now, achieving REnvTech will put you on par with a superhuman team of 8,000 environmental professionals from a vast range of sectors and roles and from across the world, all making evidence-based decisions with proven competence and professionalism. You'll be joining, or you'll be part of, a global community of professionals who have committed to use their expertise to address environmental challenges and progress any opportunities available. So the CEnV, REnvP, and REnvTech registrations, they bring you all together. And we think that's massively important to creating a more sustainable world. So we very much encourage you to join us on this journey. I'd like to now hand over to Jeff to run through the core of today's webinar. So thank you, Jeff, for joining us. I'm going to hand over to you.
Thank you, Phil, for introducing me so well. Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to be focusing on REnvTech and how to become a registered environmental technician. There are 4 or 5 steps you need to take to become an REnvTech. Firstly, join one of our licensed professional bodies. Here are the names, logos of the 5 professional bodies we currently license to assess and register appropriately qualified and experienced individuals for REnvTech. You need to join the one most appropriate to your sector and speak to them about your plans to apply. Your professional body will provide you with an application pack to complete and submit for assessment. Apart from completing an application form, they may ask you to include your CV and CPD record in your submission. If they are satisfied with your application, you may be invited to attend an interview if your professional body believes it would be appropriate or it is an inseparable membership requirement, but it's not mandatory. Final step before you're registered is to sign our Code of Professional Conduct. Your professional body will tell you how they run their REnvTech assessment process and any associated fees. Right, the competencies. So when you apply for REnvTech registration, you are providing evidence that you meet all 11 REnvTech competencies. These are in 4 groups. A and B will focus on your sector and as such may be contextualized by your professional body. The C and D competencies are sometimes known as soft skills, but they are just as important as A and B. Please note competence D1, which is about doing CPD to maintain and enhance competence in area of practice. This is important in not just gaining, but retaining your REnvTech registration. A quick reminder of the 4 or 5 steps you'll need to take in your journey to registered environmental technician registration. Join and speak to one of our licensed professional bodies about your plans to apply. Complete and submit your application, possibly attend an interview, and sign the Code of Professional Conduct. The important thing to remember is your key contact throughout the application assessment process is your professional body.
Thank you very much, Jeff, as a whistle-stop tour. So picture the scenario. You've been successful in achieving your REnvTech goal. Let's have a look at what happens next. So firstly, your professional body will inform us of your successful application, which will trigger us to add you to the official register here at SocEnv. We will send your official REnvTech certificate to you in the post with an REnvTech badge, which you can hopefully wear with pride. We will add you to the online directory of registrants on our website, which you can use to prove your REnvTech status to clients. You can start to use the REnvTech logo, which just appeared on your screen, on your email signatures and add the REnvTech letters after your name on LinkedIn and on your CV and anywhere and everywhere you can possibly think of. And you've gone through the effort of gaining REnvTech registration, you're probably going to want to try and keep hold of it as well. So there are 3 key steps to be able to do this. For a start, you need to remain a member of one of our licensed professional bodies, which are those that were on the screen as logos a few moments ago. Now, you could remain a member of the professional body that you achieved your REnvTech with initially. So say you applied with the Institution of Environmental Sciences, you could stay with them as a member. Brilliant, nice and easy. Or you could transfer to another one of the other 4 options for whatever reason that might be, as long as you meet their membership requirements and so on. They're the 2 options really. The vast majority stay with their initial member body, but it's entirely up to you. As Jeff said a short while ago, the second point on this slide is important in not just gaining, but retaining your REnvTech registration. You will need to complete or continue to complete and record appropriate CPD activities each year with your chosen professional body. And finally, you should continue to pay the annual fee to your professional body to cover costs involved. And beyond these stages, you might want to consider registered environmental practitioner or chartered environmentalist registration, but that's not necessarily something you need to think about straight away. We're going to finish off the presentation with some quickfire Q&As based on things that we see quite often come up as barriers to applying, and we're going to take it in turns for a bit of fun. So the first question being, can I be an IEng, which is an incorporated engineer, and an REnvTech? The simple answer is yes, you can. So you're a highly competent engineer, which is demonstrable with either CEng, so chartered engineer, or IEng, which is incorporated engineer. That's absolutely the right thing to do. But beyond your clearly excellent core engineering work, your wider environmental knowledge can then be showcased with an environmental registration, such as REnvTech, if you wanted to. You won't be alone in doing that. There are plenty of engineering professionals with an environmental registration as well. And it's worth noting that if you already have CEng or IEng, you don't need to necessarily rewrite your entire competency application for REnvTech, because some of the competencies cross over or are very similar, especially those C and D competencies. And the same applies to chartered scientists or registered scientists and various other registrations and memberships like that. Over to Jeff for the next question.
Okay, so how long does the application process take? And it's a very good answer. It depends. It depends on a few things. It could be really straightforward that you complete your application pack, send it to your professional body, they assess it, it gets passed on to their membership committee who say, yeah, fine, register them. It could take a few weeks. It's unlikely, but it could do. I would suggest that unless, I mean, there is the situation where your professional body might have windows where they expect you to make your registration by, and they might have 2 or 3 of those a year. So if you apply at the beginning of that registration window or that application window, then you might find it takes a little bit longer. But generally speaking, for REnvTech, because there's no absolute requirement for an interview, it should be a fairly straightforward process of 2 or 3 months, roughly, generally.
Okay. Third question is, do I need to meet all of the REnvTech competencies? And again, the simple answer to that is yes. I think Jeff mentioned it during the presentation. You do need to meet all of those competencies, but you don't necessarily need to use a completely different project or a completely different piece of work for each competence. You can hit multiple at a time. So don't make things more complicated than they need to be. You can, if you have a reasonably decent sized project that incorporates lots of different elements and you can showcase different competencies through that, then that is absolutely acceptable. over to Jeff for the fourth question.
I don't have any qualifications. Can I still be an REnvTech? Yes. Yes, you certainly still have the opportunity. Uh, the level of knowledge, understanding and skills should be equivalent to a level 3 qualification. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have a level 3 qualification. If you can show through your experience that you are working at that level, that you've got that knowledge, understanding and skills, then it could be that your professional body is fine with that and accepts that you've got that equivalent level of knowledge and you won't need any particular qualifications. That said, it would be easier if you did have a level 3 qualification, as that would just immediately tick that box. So yes, you could still apply for REnvTech without having any qualifications.
Yeah, there are different routes. There is a level of flexibility. There is flexibility
Well,
in terms of accessibility as well. So these are all things worth
absolutely,
considering.
absolutely.
Best thing to do, which we'll say quite a lot today, is to speak to your licensed member body, so your professional body, see if they are able to help you in any way, if you need any assistance or if you have any questions around the eligibility criteria, or accessibility of it, through whether, for example, if you're not particularly keen on writing your competency review, then speak to your licensed member. There might be a different way around that, such as the interview. So let's move on. So it's time for the Q&A. Once again, if you're watching on the recording, or if you need to leave early, please feel free to contact us with any questions via the email addresses on your screen. I'll leave them on there for a moment before we head into the Q&A. But for now, thank you very much for listening and taking part in today's webinar. And thank you to Jeff for your insights.
Pleasure.
If you're watching on the YouTube recording, please subscribe to our channel to gain notifications of new videos and webinar recordings and so on. And please hit that like button. That would be fantastic. If you're watching on our website, please click on the YouTube logo in the bottom right to get to the area where you can subscribe and like. And we will see you in the next webinar. Thank you very much for watching and good luck with your REnvTech applications. Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
everybody.